Field Trips features real field stories told by real ASCE members. This episode of Field Trips is sponsored by the ISFOG 2020 conference. More info at isfog2020.org.
Hi everyone, this is Kaminski from Michigan Technological University, and this is my field trip. So a few weeks ago I had the pleasure of visiting Utqiagvik, Alaska, also known as Barrow, Alaska, for a scientific expedition to study permafrost. So in this location, it's very remote, the tundra, and this is a first on many things for me. I've never been to Alaska, never experienced that kind of environment, and never really, done many experiments with international scientists like I did here. So we were studying the permafrost, and we were using all sorts of geophysical methods, such as nuclear magnetic resonance, ground-penetrating radar, and time-domain electromagnetics. This place was very unique. It's comprised of a couple thousand of Alaskan natives. They hunt whales, walruses, polar bears, you name it. It's extremely unique, but they were so welcoming to us. There's a large scientific base station that's there that scientists all around the world come here to do experiments, just because the environment is just perfect for permafrost studies, and it's also rapidly changing due to climate change. So this was kind of an introductory thing for me, and I, into the research side of things. And it was just absolutely incredible. I'm always down for, going on crazy adventures such as this, so I welcomed it all with open arms, despite how cold it got, which was around negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind chill. So some kind of cool adventures I went on. We used time domain electromagnetics, nuclear magnetic resonance. This was all a first for me, so it was really cool to see these methods in action instead of just reading about them. And got to drive snowmobiles, even ate whale too. I would have to say it was probably a cross between beef and fish, to be honest. That's like probably the closest way I can describe the taste and texture. Other awesome things I did is, so I got a really good experience with snowmobiles. We would go multiple miles outside of village limits, middle of nowhere. This is in the tundra, the Arctic, flat landscape. It's white, and the sky was clear, light is reflecting off that snow. I had a sunburn, by the end of it. We would stay out there probably from 10 in the morning all the way to like 8 p.m. And the crazy thing is too, during this time of year, it's pretty much daylight like at all times. Like sunset would be around like 11, midnight, but it would actually never fully set. It would just sit down, halfway and then go back up. Pretty remarkable coming from Michigan, because I've never experienced anything like that. My circadian rhythm was completely off. But I was able to sleep pretty well just because I had a mask, to block the sunlight, but it was challenging at first. In addition to all this, we go through the whole, science behind all the experiments, what we're after, what variables we have, what each variable, each instrumentation, collects. I had a really good thorough understanding about all of that, and I've never worked around permafrost as well, and this completely changed my idea of it. And it was kind of aided by some of the world's top scientists on permafrost, and they gave me lectures, changed my whole view of it. It was pretty incredible, and I worked with so many different nationalities. I had a really good picture of how the world of science works across all these different nationalities. It was really something. So despite all the fun, there's still going to be some issues that will arise for certain things. And one of the biggest things that I was surprised we ran through is, despite using all this really high-tech scientific equipment, a lot of it was brand new that was just purchased for this expedition, and some of it didn't even work. It was interesting. The manufacturers of these devices They even claimed right in their manuals that despite COVID, because of the pandemic, we weren't able to fully troubleshoot our systems. So we actually ran into the issue of, the devices not taking data correctly. There was errors, all that. Even though most of these devices were over $100,000. I thought that was pretty surprising, but I mean, kind of just goes to show that, despite how expensive or how sophisticated, you're still going to run into issues, common issues like that. But we had multiple methods, we had a bunch of different field teams taking the same measurements, so we had a lot of redundancy collect for our experiments. But other than that, it was awesome. So I'm Caleb Kaminski, and this was my field trip. Thanks.
Field Trips is a production of ASCE and the Geo-Institute.